Hello and welcome to the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Osubaku. Today on the Hangout, VSS declares war on 8 preachers. Many killed, houses burned, attacks on Taraba villages, and later in the program, Oshibajo urges churches to expose thieves. I'll be joined by Gani Kayode Balogun GKB, Lekon Shote, and Martins Oloja. So if you are ready, let the Hangout start now. Recently, some youth groups in northern Nigeria threatened Igbos to leave within 3 months or be forced out. This infamous declaration has generated a lot of heat. Last week, the acting president, David Oshibajo, spent some time with the leaders of thought from both the east and the north and warned that those behind the hate speeches will be dealt with. But as the stern and resolute as that sound, those at the heart of the hate speeches feel it's a waste of time. Earlier today, the same Arewa youths wrote an open letter to the acting president and maintained their position. Last week, the indigenous people of Biafra said the acting president met with the wrong people. As the acting president continued his consultation, another youth group in the Niger Delta also issued a quick notice to all northerners living in their zone. So on Sunday, the Department of State Services said it will hunt hate speeches, it will hunt down people that promote hate speeches across the country. But that was not the first time such warning will be issued in the last 2 weeks. Sadly, no one has been arrested. Can the DSS be trusted to do its job? As a follow-up to that, Martins, yesterday, Southern leaders met, at Ayo Ademanjo's house yesterday, Sunday. I saw General Lania Kinyadi. I saw the Ohanese man, Ekwilisinezi Modo.
The usual suspects.
I saw, Ebiti Wikuwe, notable Nigerians and people that, the count in the south. Osford, Chief Osford was there. They were all there, and the communique was Senator Basienshaw and Yinka Odumaki came outside and they read out the communique. But one thing I picked is that these Arewa guys that are still at large, they've not been able to apprehend any. And let's say this is an example to make like a scapegoat so that they started it, so that it will stem any other tide, so that if the same measurement is given to any other group, because this like a ricochet affects what the Arewa youth did, and all the other groups, they've had opportunities, they found their voices and they're corroborating and spitting out fire.
Well, we are trained to be suspicious and to be cynical and to disbelieve people who say they will do something. In the same vein, I think since these people have not been able to arrest even headsmen, they say we should not qualify headsmen. Headsmen are headsmen. I doubt that they can arrest these people. You recall that that was not the first from this synopsis. It wasn't the first. Immediately this happened, the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, did the needful. He threatened to arrest them. Nobody has been arrested.
He gave that order.
And then the people who should arrest them, the Inspector General of Police also issued his own warning to the group, but nobody has been arrested. DSS has given its own now. Similarly, people believe that nobody will be arrested. It will be newsworthy if
I was told that
somebody is arrested.
On Leadership newspaper today, there's a paid advert by the same group.
By the same group,
saying
yes.
That we stand by what
a few days, was it the following day or a few days after El-Rufai issued his arrest, the same group met at the same venue and nobody was arrested. So this issue of threatening to arrest, the more fundamental issue, even the headsmen, people have been asking questions. We ask questions here every week. Why is it that not one has been arrested? They nearly killed Olufalai in Southwest, Ondo State.
They came back to kill
the security
guard.
To kill the security guard. The man paid ransom, and the good thing on those state the justice system, and they didn't just arrest. They prosecuted those guys. But elsewhere, nobody has been arrested to say that these are the people they have been killing. They invaded classrooms last week in Edo State, South. So I think this thing is assuming some dimension to the extent that the impunity with which they issue this, Niger Delta people are issuing now every week. Now you find quit notices. All these notices are against the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In spite of our cynicism, I think it's high time we began to take the agencies of government seriously, and we should also take advantage of this opportunity to tell them that people are losing confidence in their institutions, in the authorities that they have. I reserve my comment.
Lekon, should governments right now show the leadership in making scapegoats?
Absolutely, absolutely. And let me take your mind back. It's not just on one side. It's not just the Arewa. If you recall, if you have listened to the rhetorics of Radio Biafra, mentioning tribes and saying despicable things about other tribes, and this has led to what we are getting from
the action.
Yes, right. And if you go back to Taraba State, some 8 or 9 years ago, some little kids were playing football, and Christians, and a Muslim kid came and wanted to join them. They beat him and they killed him. You understand? So this thing, governments and government agencies have been very slow and very weak in taking decisive action. We hear people talking to be politically correct. When the governor spoke 2 weeks ago, I didn't expect anything, and indeed nothing happened. And the gentleman he said, I've not been hiding. Nobody has come to arrest me. Yeah. And eminent Professor Ango, I call him Angry Ango Abdullahi, came up and started speaking. And nothing. And the man says, nobody has come to address. He's openly says, nobody has come to address me. Nobody is asking me to come. And when Apostle Suleiman spoke, sometime early this year, he was invited to the SSS. He was even going to be picked up in the hotel room. A governor prevented that. Eventually, they invited him to. So what stops? Is it that there are 2 laws in this country? The IPOB leader was picked up. He was just recently released on bail. And
he has been flaunting his bail condition.
Yeah, I understand. But what I'm saying is that he was picked up.
He was picked up.
You understand? So these people who say that nobody has even come to pick us up or even talk to us, what is happening? Is it just about consultation with the leaderships, which they are also even disowning now, that these people that the acting president is speaking to don't even speak their mind? They are not representing them. Both the Southeast have said that, the Arewa have also said the same thing. So why don't we start to engage the agencies of government? Let them do the constitutional jobs that they have been assigned to do.
Well, we cannot run away from our mistakes. People forget easily that we had these problems during Obasanjo era.
Yes.
And the first thing he did was to pick up my friend Gani Adams, pick up Uwazurike, because of people in the
Dr. Fashion,
Niger Delta, and then everything went
Asari
down.
Dokuba.
This government has given too much leverage, too much leeway to whether they are called herdsmen, they are called militants, they are called youths, whatever name they call themselves. Democracy is fine, but it carries with it the carrots and the stick. You cannot keep giving carrots and expecting them not to get the stick once in a while. And that is my fear. We said on this program, when El-Rufai issued that order, one, he doesn't have the power. As you know, it's just an advice.
Doesn't have the troops.
He cannot order the IGP to do jack. The IGP will still have to get orders from above. Yes. And that's the reality of our country. On this matter, we knew it would come to this when the IPOP guys were throwing tantrums and calling names. In science, they say for every action, there's a reaction. and there's
Equal and
counteraction.
opposite.
They started the action. The Arewa youth are reacting. But why the Arewa youth ultimatum is more potent is that people from that particular part of the country are not known for diplomacy. Once they promise they will do something, they will do it. And I think that's the acting president is very quick in trying to douse the tension and call leaders of thought and talk to them. This DSS is just another round of rabble rousing from those who do government agencies. Nothing will happen. Okay. If there's another one beyond DSS that can do it, let them do it again tomorrow. We'll still be where we are. Those guys are working free in Kaduna. They are meeting in Kaduna. They know their
venue. They know where they.
People don't even miss the symbolism. They went to Arewa House.
Yes.
They didn't take one hotel in one corner.
It's not a place you can easily
They went
enter.
to Central Kaduna. They took to the symbol of Northern Power.
That's right.
And they sat there, and it was recorded. These people, you can see their faces. They are not ghosts.
They didn't hide.
People know who they are. They know their houses. And it's been 2 weeks, and ultimately nothing will happen. The danger is the fact that if they don't use the Obasanjo tactic quickly, this thing will go out of hand.
At the same time, Martin, a lot of people will say that it might have negative effects if attempts, the president, the administration move against this Arewa youths. Some other people will come up north, and this agitation will start in earnest.
Well,
that is a very delicate situation.
It's a very delicate thing, but when I said I reserved my comment, it's unfortunate our brother is not here today. When we were reviewing the administration second year, when you asked him a question, he paused and said something and made a fundamental statement. He said, if I must listen to my conscience, before he said something. I work in a paper that has that kind of, since 1983, that conscience is an open wound, and only truth can heal it. If I don't want to, I'm rambling. I want to make a statement that it's not good for this moment, but we have been doing this political correctness for so many years now. It has taken us nowhere. People are describing our own state as a failed state as we are speaking. When we should be discussing development, we are discussing politics of nation building, nationhood. Now, people may not talk to you publicly. They will tell you that these people will not be arrested because the head of all these security agencies are from the same place where this threat is coming from. Yesterday I wrote in my column about a federal character commission that has no federal character because of so many things that they have done, which would have taken care of this kind of situation. In the same vein, let us begin to talk to our leaders, the way they make appointments, the way they do things like that. Today, people are talking at pepper soup joints, but they will be waiting till 2019 when the issues will come. The National Security Advisor, Inspector General of Police, DG, SSS, and so many others like that, who head all these agencies, are from this same place where they issued the quit notice. If they are not arrested tomorrow, people will say it openly and say, look, what else do you expect? Because we no longer trust our leaders.
Because
that is why
insinuating already that they have the backing of some powerful people.
When they hold security meeting, now, security meeting of Chief of Army Staff, who he was talking recently about coup making. Without his backing, nobody can do that kind of thing successfully. He spoke. It's from the north. The Inspector General of Police, people have been complaining about this thing. People have written editorial. We also have written editorial complaining about some of these things. The National Security Advisor, the chief of this chief of that, the Minister of Defense. When they hold all this meeting, they are from the same part of the country. People are getting angry, but people don't want to talk because of political correctness. We don't want to talk about it in the media. We don't want to mention it when you are writing. You use innuendos and some of these things. But they are coming out now.
All right.
This is the moment of truth.
Okay, let me first take my breather. In case you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We're watching us live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. We take this breather. We'll be right back after this time out. Please don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. The studio is heating up. Now, if we have to just find, we are not talking about governance. You know, there are so many distractions in Nigeria. Nobody is talking about the signed appropriation of 2017 again. This will take our attention till another thing comes, you know. And these are not things that, you know, add value in any way. Leave my place. I'm giving you ultimatum till this time to leave. How is that we are always the negative things, you know? We are always attracted to things that will not in any way add value to this country. Look at this kind of debates now. Taking our space for like 1 week.
There's something called first principles. You have a constitution that must address, I've been talking about this in my column in the last 2 or 3 weeks, towards making Nigeria a nation. The first thing, the first principle is that all laws, all policies must be geared towards the interest of the individual Nigerian, not the groups. Not the Hausa, not the Yoruba, not the Igbo, not the Christian, not the Muslim, no. But the individual youth. Laws must also be made to handle the individual who goes against the law, rather than begin to look at him as a Hausa man, a Fulani man, a Yoruba man, or an Igbo man. So for me, that is the basic minimum. So the office of the citizen must be more important than the office of the president. That I am a citizen must be more important than the office of the president or governor or minister. Because all these offices, it is first, you have to first be a citizen before you can then become a president. To now work in the interest of all individual citizens of Nigeria.
Okay, let me pick my first call. Babatunde is calling us from Kano. Thank you for joining us, Babatunde.
Good evening, Ayo.
Good evening.
How's work?
We are there.
My contribution is very simple and very basic. The problem of this country arises from the airline. They cause all kinds of problems. I listened to Mr. Onoja at that time accusing President Buhari of appointing Northerners as the chief of service. But I want you to remember the accusation from the North when Minima was the chief of army staff. And the people were accusing Jonathan of appointing him deliberately. But Minima is an Igbo man. People accusing him of deliberately keeping that guy there.
No, is Minima an Igbo man?
Northern Nigeria.
No, it's Azubike Hejirika.
Now, what is God just because the people he appointed, like Burate, like Chief of Naval Staff, they are from the same area. The NSA is from the northeast. And people now, you cannot see the development. If they fail to do that in their area, it means they failed their people entirely. Now we are expecting him to do review after his 2 years in office. But for people, because of what is happening in Southern Kaduna, let us expect the other time that what if you listen to Radio Biafra, what the people have been saying using Radio Biafra to, I believe it is Southern Western people that is being accused through that medium, there could have been worse in this country. So we need to learn how to tolerate each other. When some people are doing wrong things.
Thank you, Tunde. And Tunde talking about tolerance. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So in summary, policies and laws should be made in the interest of the individual citizen.
GKB, the kind of hate messages on the social media, sometimes if you read the social media, so most of the time I prefer to switch off my data, not to look at the innuendos, the the messages.
Direct messages.
Direct in your face.
Messages
explicit.
and everything.
They don't have,
Very explicit.
There's no political
There's no-
correctness.
Yeah. Because there's a
There's no
faceless
censor,
platform.
there's
No, you have to.
And
You have to understand.
since the 2015 election,
getting
we've
worse.
divided across ethnic line, we've been divided across religious line and everything, and we don't seem to be talking about the greatness of the giant, this giant called Nigeria.
The giant is comatose, and they are picking on the carcass. That's reality. The hate speeches that you see on social media is not peculiar to Nigeria, but it has gone beyond anything that you can describe as civilized. And we are all guilty because some people are brought up under a particular narrative and they are not interested in getting the truth. All they want to do is walk within that narrative and they want to beat you into submission, to accept that their reality. And that's where the problem starts. Because unless, that's why when people say they don't teach history anymore. I said, it's what your father taught you that is your history.
Even you'll be surprised, even we journalists, we are
guilty.
We are guilty.
In fact, we are, all of
Because
us.
I wonder why somebody will be insinuating that because President Buhari is from, is a Fulani man, as a result of that.
No, we are the worst corporates.
Tacitly supporting the headsmen.
Well, if you are given a job to do, and you don't do it.
My brother, perception management is one of the most difficult things
In life.
in life, in public relations management. Perception. Once people form their own perception, what leads to this perception? That's what I said I regretted, making that kind of statement the other time. Like, this is not the kind of statement we should be making at this time. Because you look at people, even chief of this, chief of that, most of them are married to people from the south. Retired heads of state, retired this and that, all of them. Look at General IBB, the wife.
Atiku.
Atiku, Abubakar, all of these people. But because of poor leadership, because of governance problems all over the place, people are now forming opinions and they don't just put everything online.
And the opinions are becoming dogmas.
Dogma. And then this only thin line between perception now and reality. So people say, why would people say that the president has been part of the leadership of Miyetti Allah? This Fulani leader, it's a patron leadership in West Africa. So if these people are not, if they cannot arrest Fulani herdsmen, if they can't take control of this thing and say, look, it is because of this, that's perception.
No,
so to be uncharitable
to even bother what he said, Miyetti Allah's general secretary is now the executive secretary for Federal Character Commission.
Federal Character Commission.
So you are
that I talked about
rewarding somebody who normally should be in jail with an appointment.
That's right.
You don't need to say anything after that.
Yes.
You've told people
because he's a member. Why should he be in jail? Because he's a member of an association.
Because they know those who commit these atrocities. They are registered members all over the state. Why do you think the Ekiti law is working? Because the governor and the people in Oyo and Ekiti, they know their leaders. They know where they are. They know where to pick them. And the thing will go down. Because if you are involved, you can be caught. That's something we call about perception management, really. That if I'm giving you a job, people say because I was my friend, you are not qualified for that job. But if they are attacking you, and I say, okay, don't mind them, become Executive Secretary of Federal Character Commission, it is an affirmation of my belief that what you are doing is right. So there's no way Buhari can wash himself clean of that accusation.
All the perfumes of Arabia.
Let me quickly take Kunle from Abado.
Scrambler.
Okay, this Kunle, you can just try and call back. Lekon.
Somebody ran his car towards a mosque in London just yesterday or 2 days ago, saying he wants to target Muslims. That's a reprisal to his perception of Muslims targeting Christians. I hope we will not get to that level in this country. If the law enforcement, if the government does not take decisive action against anybody, any individual, any group that is taking action that is contrary to the safety and security of other Nigerians. Insightful or inciting, which one is the correct one now?
Yes.
Insightful or inciting statements made by
yes.
IPOB members, made by Arewa youths, must not be allowed to slide.
To fester, yeah.
It must not be allowed to fester. Action must be taken. It's okay to consult with the leaders, but the agencies, why do we have the military? Why do we have the DSS? Why do we have the police if they are not going to be allowed to do their job? In other countries, you can attack the president, but the FBI will be doing its job.
Okay, I have Abib from Oyo State. Thank you for joining us, Abib. Hello, Abib. Hello? Is Abib still there? All right. When we are looking at all this, just reaching home stretch on this.
Yeah.
If the acting president met with stakeholders, people that are meant to be leaders, and IPOB is saying that those are not our representative, and do you think it will be fair enough that if the vice president, the acting president is looking for who to meet with in the southeast,
The parameters
to
are
come
clear.
and meet
The
with
parameters of those who
Kano?
will meet are clear. Elected officials, leaders of thoughts, the
Does Nnamdi Kanu fall
he
into
does
this
not
category?
qualify into that category. So the acting president has done the right thing. But like Lawrence said, and like Martin said, the issue here is this. The acting president has done what he's supposed to do. That's the end of the carrots. Let us move to the stick. This is the time is now. Enough of the carrots. They've shown they are not willing to eat carrots peacefully. Let's go there with the stick.
All right, now, Nelson. Nelson, are you there?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us, Nelson.
Oh, thank you. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, well, the quick one, to be quick. If our President Buhari, by the time I got to the presidency, this thing I would have done is to heal the wound that came during the time of the election. They spread my appointment all through the geopolitical zones, especially from even those areas that I see as perceived enemies to me. That's the essence of leadership. Let's heal the wound first. Bring these people together, not by appointing all the people from the north and now creating enmity for yourself at the beginning. So I think the problem lies with the president. The truth, the truth. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Do you think in any way the appointment of Mr. President has been skewed to favor a perception?
If out of 17 top security positions, 16 are from one section, one half of Nigeria, what do you think? It's unfair, especially when we are talking about federal character, which has been put inside of the Constitution. I don't think that is very fair. If you ask me, I am not for federal character, all these quota basic things.
Not
I don't
into
want
ministries
them.
because we have you know, people from the south that are managing strategic ministries.
Okay.
In you know, in this cabinet.
Which ministry is not strategic?
I'm just asking that.
Would you say education is not strategic? Would you say agric is not strategic?
Affairs.
We keep talking about somebody because South is Minister of Finance. What does Minister of Finance do? It's just addition. It's just an accountant compiling figures.
Especially without budget.
The other people without budget. What are we talking about? And we keep saying strategic positions. Which strategic positions?
You know the agencies.
The people who own the constitution are the people who run the security outfits.
It's still tied to police.
Police.
Yeah.
Immigration, customs.
That's right.
Prisons.
Another one man. Do you know those who are under Internal Affairs, those who are under Ministry of Defense?
Right.
And both are under
So
people from the
there are
same
more
zone.
issues.
So don't let's belabor this.
Don't let us belabor
Because we are
it.
not
I
always
say
saying
budget and planning. What budget and planning? What is it not what he gets from the ministries that they plan to do that he will just add together? That's all. It's just arithmetic that he's doing. And they keep telling us it's strategic. It is the people who own security. They are the ones that
because
are.
that's all we are discussing.
Yes,
now, security.
And the people who hold this security, they say that people from certain sections of the country do not have confidence in whatever they do. Whether the issues threat, the issue threat, they say they will arrest it. People believe that they will not arrest them. And nothing will happen.
and nothing has happened.
And nothing has happened. This is the perception that we need to manage very well. Lest.
Okay.
we lose the nation.
We'll take another break. When we'll come back, we'll discuss more. Still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Abu is calling us from London. Thank you for joining us, Abu.
Yes.
Good evening, Abu. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Good evening.
Go ahead with your contribution.
All right. Let me just quickly say this. Buhari is just creating a lot of problem in that country. To go to the point, when it comes to issue of security, if you look at the issue of these herdsmen running from the north to the coast of Bayelsa and the Delta states, macheting people and driving school children from Edo State from classroom, you can recall there was a time when there was these Hausa boys who were transporting ammunition in coffee. That was when they designed that the Hausa Fulani, they want to overrun the country because Buhari has tried to give the defense. If you look at the defense, the police, the security, all the security arms are all given to the Northerners. And when you people are talking about these cattle herdsmen macheting people in Enugu and all the other states, you can see the Minister of Internal Affairs. They will just be smiling and not saying anything. As he says, the Minister of Internal Affairs. Our people are being reported killed all over the country, apart from the northern states. They are not doing anything. Look at the Minister for Defense. They will all be lining up. They are not doing anything. Because Buhari has designed and given the security agencies the program of overrunning the country from the north to the coast. That is their design. They want to overrun. They want to overrun the country. That is why they decided to hold on to the security agency.
Thank you, Abu. Thank you for your contribution. There are killings in the north. We have in Taraba. Boko Haram is killing in the northeastern part of the country, and it's not something peculiar to the southern part of the country.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
It's just that we are holding government responsible that the protection of life and properties, be you Hausa, Igbo,
That's their
Yoruba,
first job. That's the first job of government.
It's their responsibility. And people are not helping government in any way with these hate speeches all around. Gentlemen.
Security and welfare of the people.
Section 14 of the Constitution.
The primary purpose of government. Full
Yeah.
stop. They say it's not justiciable.
Security before welfare. even.
Before welfare.
All right, I have to move on now. If integrity and holiness is measured by the number of religious centers in any society, Nigeria would arguably be the holiest country in the world. In every street, I say in every street, it's not possible to find at least 2 religious centers. They are out there. But acting President Yemi Osinbajo has taken his anti-corruption campaign to the altar. About time. He urging churches in Nigeria to hold members accountable and banish those that have dug their hands into the cookie jar. The question is, will churches willfully take the job of the EFCC and do as the acting president advised? Now, gentlemen, for a long time, this has been a subject of debate. There was a time a particular worker in Sheraton Hotel actually was said to have made away with 35 million naira or so.
No, he gave to the church.
He gave to the church.
Yes, I've made away with a certain amount of money.
Less than 10%. So
He went to go and buy generator and everything, and he gave to the church. And if you watch our TV, our tele-evangelists, they even write account numbers, they write everything that give, it will come back to you, good measure, stretched together, shaking together, running over and everything. But the bottom line here is that we have a lot of people that they take questionable money, donations to churches. Lekon.
Well, the church is also a human environment. It's also a community. And you have all shades of people. Haven't you heard that during church service, they steal people's Bibles, They steal people's iPads. They steal people's telephones. They even, while you come for service, a wedding in a church, they are announcing to you that please hold well your telephone, your valuables. Now, let me now proceed to another level. That it appears to me, or it appears to a lot of people, that church is a highly lucrative business in Nigeria. You see, there's so much poverty, there is so much disillusionment, there is emotional, psychological oppression in this country, and people cannot... Yeah, and so to deal with these material issues, you have to look for some escape, and then religion offers itself. I think it was Chairman Ma who said that religion is the opium of the masses. I think was it not Karl Marx? Okay. Karl Marx. You know. Yes, sorry, I'm sorry. Karl Marx said, yeah, it's the opium of the masses. That's right. So it is like that, and therefore a lot of people, I've heard people say to me in private conversations, oh, I'm going to be a pastor, and I can get quite, you know, I will be able to solve some of my financial. I have had a situation where I have been asked to go and audit a church. The pastor will call for a night vigil, and then when the money is taken, he will call people for a special night vigil. He will ask the head usher to give him the money. There is no record because he needed money. And while I was auditing, his wife was standing beside me and saying, "Waiting, they won't make with the chop now." I mean, that is so brazen. Well, I'm trying to say that a lot of people are taking advantage of the sheep in the church. And I think Mr. Acting President is in a very, very, very good position.
Yes, when you say somebody has the locus, do you understand?
He's in a very good position.
A pastor in the Redeemed Christian Church of God,
exactly.
if he's saying what, talking like this,
he knows what he's talking about.
The level of corruption in churches.
He knows what he's talking about, and he's the right person. Right. And you see that it's all front pages all over the place because of the person who spoke. If he had been an imam somewhere,
there would have been trouble.
There would have been trouble
for today.
But he is talking to the house, to his own house.
That's right.
And as I said now, as I wrote before, you cannot keep truth in a grave for such a long time. It will come out. Truth is coming out about the church itself. And this, like I said earlier, we can no longer hide the truth about this country. We are talking so much of, as somebody said, churchianity now. We are talking of too much of religion without Christianity. And it is also written in the word that it is through knowledge that the righteous shall be saved. And that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Most of the members lack knowledge of what we are talking about. We're just seeking miracle. The thing is so bad now that instead of reading the word, they are quoting the church leaders. Yes. That according to our leader, according to our...
still go to, you know, will people still go to these miracle centers and you guys, if government, you know, goes about, you know, put everything in place, that's, you know, the basic need of life. Are people going to churches, because they love God? Definitely. Because they want to worship God?
Yes,
even though if they don't have anything.
That is the right question. Now, you see, most of the most beautiful places in any neighborhood, you'll see are churches. Good houses, good property, good estates you'll find around. Because as he said, it's now big business. Jesus Christ is no longer at the center of the gospel. You see posters, people are asking people who are barren to come for children that they are the children giver. They are the ones they are the miracle workers. They are the ones that can make you whole. They are the ones that can make you wealthy. Yeah. That they are the ones that can pray for you. Some will even issue a statement and say you should write everything you have in your account. Everything you have, bring it now. And by the time you wake up tomorrow, you will have become a millionaire. Something. They issue all sorts of things, and you know religion is very powerful. It's really opium. I don't know whether Thomas Paine was talking about this age when he talks about the age of reason. Now people are looking at this thing, and he knows what happens. When you want to talk about first-timers in the church, you say, if you have worshipped with us for the first time, come, but don't leave your bag, don't leave your Bible, don't leave your anything, as he said.
That's right.
This is the reality. Because if you leave your bag, somebody will just take the bag and even move out of the church. Right. Or pick some valuables and keep and change positioning in all these mega churches. So it's a very big issue that touched that. One, there is no accountability in the church. And now a government that is not accountable itself cannot talk about accountability in the church.
But Leko, in a situation whereby the pastor is the one at the vanguard pressurizing his followers that I need 10 people to give me 10 million naira. I need 5 people to give me 5 million naira. And if you know you want to be part of the covenant blessing, if it's a million, just make sure you partake in this
That's
exercise.
why the fact that those 10 people cannot account through taxes what they generate for themselves.
And that is what
remember there is a case in London
of
a Nigerian pastor.
Okay, let me quickly, Mohammed from the UK. Thank you for joining us, Mohammed.
Hello?
Yes, Mohammed, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've been watching you and I've been with you all the while.
Thank you.
I want to comment with regard to what you are talking about with regard to the acting president comment about the fight against corruption starting from the church.
All right, go ahead, Mohammed.
Yeah, actually, I do commend him for saying that, and I 100% agree with all what you have been saying. And actually, I want to say that it should go beyond the church and even to the mosque and all other religious centers. Honestly, religion has been used to suppress the masses. Sometimes, a while, more than 2,000 years ago, great philosophers have already elaborated that. So I do think the acting president should step up. Please, they should try to see how the EFCC maybe should start investigating and auditing the account of such religious centers. And they should look at foreign donations. If you look at the issue of terrorism we have been facing, there have been some certain amount of concern that foreign donations have been coming in the name of religion. So I think the security agency should really look into that, and what acting president have said is absolutely
Thank you, Mohammed.
Correct.
Thank you for your contribution. I think the vice president was, the acting president was just playing safe when he limited it to the church. That is his area of jurisdiction and education. So let's quickly take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss. But it's still journalist anger. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. All right, we are still, the conversation was still on even in the midst of the break. We're looking at a situation whereby factories are not springing up.
But churches are springing up.
Churches are springing up. And it's not a reflection of the kind of people we are. As in, it's not as if we are getting better in terms of corruption index, in terms of anything. But the productive sector, churches are buying warehouses.
Yes.
Churches are buying companies. They are buying structures. They are buying the biggest. I don't know about mosque, but the little I've seen in Lagos as a state case study, they are expanding massively. And if you comment about that, you'll be tagged an antichrist.
They have to be anti-something. The problem is this, like I was saying earlier, the lack of law or trying to enforce the law in Nigeria is what is leading to this expansion, as it were.
You were talking about London.
And that's what I'm saying. You remember that a pastor in London took the Nigerian mentality there. And the tax people have to call him to order. They have him arrested.
Because the charity,
it's a charity organization. You cannot take money out of the charity organization for your personal use. Don't also forget, there's also a very popular pastor who went to South Africa.
Yes.
I tried the same thing. And he got his hands burnt. Why the acting president is doing the right thing, we must understand that unless you enforce the laws that has to do that churches are basically charity organizations, not limited liability companies, and they cannot be buying up assets of the Nigerian people under one religious element or the other, then we are fooling ourselves. Like I said, I know a place at Penn Cinema. I was passing the road on a Monday, it was a bank. By Sunday, it was a church. And things are that bad. And when you have a youth population of about 60%, because of them jobless, they must look for an avenue to put out their frustration. And the church or the mosque provide the perfect opportunity to exploit those who are exploitable.
You know, when I was talking, when I was talking about lack of knowledge, you know, when a pastor raises a prayer point that a factory by the church is dying, and maybe they can no longer raise money for operation and other things, a prayer point that will be raised in the church for God to enable us to expand our church to take over that factory, that prayer point is for lack of knowledge. The prayer point that should have been raised is for a miracle to happen for the factory there to come alive, to reopen, so that there will be employment opportunities for members of the church. Because at the end of the day now...
nothing is wrong with, even though if the church should take over the factory and they are still into manufacturing. If we have churches that are into agriculture, churches into things that, you know, as done in other parts of the world.
You know, the point I am trying to make is that...
Okay, let me quickly take Ibukun. Ibukun is calling us from Osun State. Thank you for calling us, Ibukun.
Hello?
Yes, Ibukun, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ibukun. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, I think there's a good part to this whole thing. Because that of the Kanu, whatever, Biafran crusade, we can actually see now most of the Igbo people are not ready to live.
Hello, Ibukun?
So there's a good part to that one that it has shown now that they are not, most of them are not supporting the crusade Kanu is actually leading. So that one has failed in that aspect. Then the other thing I want the acting president to make name for himself now. Get these people arrested and let Buhari come around and then come.
Okay, thank you.
You know, as I was saying, you know, the most important point in this our discussion is accountability. Let the law rule. Let us not ramble. Let us not speak in tongues about this thing. Let the law rule. If the law rules, the law that rules, and
the UK,
in the UK, in South Africa, and elsewhere, you know, most of these tele-evangelists you find on some of these religious sites are accountable. Financial services agencies come anytime and ask for their books. Yeah. If there is only one signatory, that is against the rule. Yeah. That was what happened in London. They don't want you to be the sole signatory. You can see people are already criticizing a situation where there are mission universities, but to all intents and purposes, all these universities set up by these churches are not mission universities, they are private universities. And most of the members cannot pay the fees that the university charge. These are issues. So it is high time the religious leaders began to realize that a time will come, and it will come to pass as it is written. And it came to pass, and it will come to pass that there will be accountability, that a leader will emerge, and we ask for books, that you should keep your books well, and you define how you are running the church. The church is seen as an organization in business schools, and should be ruled by the regulation of the country, by the law of the land. You cannot be an island unto itself. And righteousness and justice are the foundation of God's own throne. It is written. So we should take what the vice president has said very, very seriously. Religious leaders, before they talk of making heaven, and that they won't make heaven, if they do not ask people who bring money to the churches, how did you get your money? If they do not have data on members of the church, what they have, they should build they should have biometric features on these members.
Because I wanted to ask if somebody is bringing tithe of 100, 200 million to your church.
And his income is less than 5.
And you want to ask if something is tithe. Tithe is 1/10.
Tithe, yes.
And he's paying 200 million.
There's nothing wrong in finding out, you know. But the way it goes is that when you give your check to the ushers,
Yes.
that's not, the usher may not necessarily be involved in the running of that particular parish, for example. So, and then they pay it in, and that's the end of that. All they see is what the accountant sees is the alert.
Yes.
You know. But there's something I need to say. Ayo. Bible says, righteousness exalted a nation.
Yes.
The leaders of the church, including the mosque also, must lead their folks, their congregation by example.
Yes.
I'll tell you something. I was on the street of London some time ago, and somebody pointed, they said, look at this big cathedral. There are only 5 or 6 old people on a Sunday morning in this cathedral. And he was trying to challenge me that, what are we doing in Nigeria? And I said, well, you see, what you don't seem to understand is this. Even those of them who may claim to be atheists, they live as Christians. They live according to the canons, the tenets of Christianity. Down the generation, 4, 5, 600, 20 generations, they have been taught to live as Christians. After all, some people were seen in Antioch, and they said these people are acting like Christians, yes. So these people are already living, even though you may say, oh, he's an atheist, he's a Muslim. They obey the rules. Here, we just are looking for miracles. That is why they give an atheist white man a contract to make a road in his country. He knows that the law will catch him if he doesn't do the right thing. And of course, and also he has been trained to do the right thing. He will do the right thing. But here, a Christian, a Bible-toting, speaking Christian, you give him a contract to do the same road in Nigeria. He won't do it.
But GKB, final thoughts from you?
My prayer is that one day there will be a Pharaoh that will not know Joseph.
Well,
so justice will come.
Gani Kairi Balogun making the show today, and Lekosha. Thank you for making the show, and Pastor Martin Olaja quoting the scripture.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being part of today's program, and that's a wrap on Journalist Hangout. You join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight on DSTV 418, Go TV 45 at 11. And you can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channels is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.